She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy gazpacho.
Sports can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
These got me buzzing.
Up the topies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I just have
can't.
to go
You guys
you
comment
just have
on
to
that.
keep going until you win. That's betting advice right there. But boys, let's get on over to what I said about Fulham. And it is the U.S. men's national team corner here. We start with Fulham captain Jedi Robinson. Got the captain armband for them this weekend. Some good leadership there for Jedi Robinson, a longtime member of Fulham, and certainly helps with some leadership bringing back to the U.S. Additionally, Balogun was back for Monaco and started their game. And of course, before we get too far into this, we have to talk about Christian Pulisic, who got an assist to Tijani Reinders in their game this weekend in the Serie A, off of basically just winning a header that bounced right to Tijani Reinders and he slammed it in. But it's an assist nonetheless, making him the only Serie A player to record 20 goals and 15 assists in all competitions since the 2023-2024 season. So, I mean, he's putting up fucking numbers. Some numbies being put up. And he, of course, got a Champions League goal as well this week. That's just the regular for Pulisic now. Let's get into the PSV boys, because they had a hell of a midweek against... Huh?
Huzva.
PSV USA. PSV USA. The boys, Malik Tillman scored a brace against Shakhtar Donetsk. And then Pepe, they were down 2-0. Tillman scores a brace. And then Pepe gets a winner. All of this happening in like the 85th minute on. Wild late game heroics from the two Americans in this game to get a win in the Champions League. Malik Tillman, first goal, a weird free kick that went in. Not sure if that was exactly what he was meaning to do. The second one, though, boys, holy shit, what a banger. A banger, golazo, whatever you want to call that. Malik Tillman, that was something sweet. And of course, after a game like that, I mean, he's leading the Champions League in chances created, key passes, like a bunch of different things that now come out after this, showing how amazing he's been. And with that comes a lot of the links of teams that are interested in or have put in concrete inquiries into him, including names like Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, Aston Villa, and even a one Borussia Dortmund. Boys, are any of these teams a good fit for Malik Tillman, or where would you want to see him go?
Everton,
lad.
Everton.
Get in. I think those
Is
are all
there
good.
any chance? Is there any realistic chance he could go to Everton? No, right?
He has a release
Probably
clause
I don't know why
in
he
the
would
summer
go
for
there.
30-40 million. I don't think Everton are spending
Bad.
30-40 million on him. And
Oh,
he
they
does
could
not
do that.
at all theirs.
Who are the
I don't
new?
think
Are
he
the new
fits-
owners American?
Friedkin.
No, I don't believe they are.
Never mind.
I mean-
in which case, go to Milan, baby.
I mean, Milan's been a great place for Americans, and I don't know. We'll see what Malik Tillman does, but he is certainly racking up that price tag that is going to be for him here.
Where do you want him to go, Flex? You're the USA guy.
I don't know. I don't know where he's the best fit. He just needs to be playing. I think I've heard this on plenty of things. I don't think he starts at Man U. I don't think he's getting minutes a year before a World Cup on home soil. I understand it's a crowded room with like Gio also, that we might not be relying on Malik Tillman. We also can't not have him be in form. So I worry about the big moves to the gigantic clubs. I think a smaller side.
I don't know,
Might
dude,
be
because I think it's maybe a smaller side, but it is clear to me that he cannot be playing in the Dutch league anymore. When we play against any international teams, like he does not look like the same player he is against the farmers over there in the Netherlands. So he needs a move to a better league at the very least. If you want to prioritize playtime, then I think that's fine. But I also think it'd be good to have him be in a competitive place. I could see, Spurs, where they really start. I mean, Madison, he gets injured a lot. He also has dry spells. I wouldn't hate that for him. I would hate it for me, but I wouldn't hate it for him. No, Dortmund even. I don't think it's that bad. It might just be a geo problem. Maybe Malik does come play. So who knows?
Yep. I mean, that is kind of the question there. I don't think Dortmund's that realistic. They have a bunch of youngsters, including Gio Reyna, of course, who got 28 minutes in the Champions League, racking up those minutes, and then 5 minutes in a tight game against Bayern. So off the bench still for Gio Reyna, but he is starting to make that way up. He's getting a few more minutes with these appearances. And I kind of had this thought today, boys. I mean, are Gio Reyna and Malik Tillman just polar opposites in terms of club and country? It seems like for Gio Reyna, he doesn't ever play for his club and always is injured or not chosen. But when he comes to the US, he is the creative force and one of the best, if not the best player on the pitch when he's on. And Malik Tillman, if you switch the words club and country in those situations, doesn't play much for the US, can't get on the field. When he does, it's in smaller minutes or just not impressing as much. And then when he goes to club, he's this world-class talent that's scoring braces in the Champions League and demolishing defenses, creating more than anyone in. What needs to happen to change for both those to be even on both sides? What do you see there that's such a disconnect for both?
I get the comparison, but also I do think Gio does more with his time in Dortmund than Malik does with his time in the USA. To be fair, he's had higher moments, and even with these small cameos, I still think we see moments of brilliance. So I don't think it's a totally fair, comparison to make. I just think he's fallen out of favor, and sometimes that happens with managers and whatever. And it seems like he's trying to work his way back in. He still needs a move. As far as what needs to happen, I think Tracy would agree. Both these guys need to find new clubs.
Do you agree?
I think Gio's main issue is just injury availability. Last year when he finally had a stretch of availability, he was in a terrible situation at Nottingham. It just didn't make any sense. He was never going to play with a club that was trying to survive. Not a good fit whatsoever. I think Dortmund can still work for him under Sahin if he's able to be healthy, puts himself up for selection. There are minutes to be had there. There are not too many locked-in starters who have to be ahead of him. Byron Gittins and Julian Brandt for sure, but Marco Reus is gone. Some of the longer-standing players are gone. So there's a chance there, I think. For Tillman, I think Nick's right about not taking his chances at the U.S., but I also don't think he's really had the fairest of chances. I don't remember a time he's playing in the best 11 where it's really structured for him to succeed, where he has anchors behind him, where he's allowed to be creative. The 2 camps ago, I mean, it was a terrible situation for every player. Every player looked bad because the roster sucked and it was a new coach and there were just a whole lot of variables outside of their control. I think he needs another shout, another starting opportunity in one of these upcoming camps to really write the script on whether he could be an impactful player for us. And then for Gio, it's just staying healthy.
Yeah, I think Gio is staying healthy. Nick, is that what you think it is for Malik? Because he hasn't really gotten the correct shot. I mean, he was with Greg Burrow, and then the chance he got with Pochettino is on the road, Jamaica, and on the road, in Mexico, where everybody looked kind of bad. Is it maybe giving another shot on Pochettino?
I get where you're coming from, and if he's named in a starting 11 that's really strong, like Mike says, I'm going to be very curious to see what happens. But even when there's lesser competition around you, you at least expect some flashes if you're the level of talent that some people are talking about. And he's looked bad. Like, it's not that he hasn't looked good, it's that he's looked bad, in my opinion. And maybe you disagree with that opinion, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. So I think at the international level, he hasn't taken the chances he's been given in any sort of way. And Mike talks about let's structure an 11 around him. Well, in our strongest 11, he's not there, and that's just a reality in my opinion. So hopefully, maybe if he gets another shot, he does take it. Obviously, there is talent there. We see it in some of the highest levels in Europe, but something's just not clicking internationally, and I'm not sure what it is.
I think that is the thing. It's just not clicking, but if it does click, I mean, how high does the hype on Malik Tillman go? Because if you look at just the club level, and if he was bringing that exactly on over to the US, I mean, he's being dubbed as the best player in the Eredivisie. He's the best player on PSV, who's a large squad in Europe, and he's performing extremely well in the Champions League. I think he's within the top 10 of goal contributions in all of the Champions League this season. I mean, if it clicks, if it does click, if we can figure out a way for it to click with the U.S. men's national team, how far can he push the U.S. forward with option of him, with Gio Reyna, with a Pulisic, all being those uber talented attacking creative players?
Really far. He's the best goal threat in the midfield and any of the options for the U.S. men's national team. He's like a second striker of sorts a lot of the time. He's got an eye for the goal. He can finish from outside of the box, which is a skill that most players don't have. And he connects well with a striker. I mean, if he really clicks, it could be scary hours for opposing teams. It could, I don't know. I mean, it could do a lot. Him connecting with Pulisic could be huge. It's big ifs. Maybe it could detract from other guys' numbers. That's also another possibility. But I would just see it as more goals.
Push back on that a little bit. I'd push back on both things, actually, on him being PSV's best player. There's still some players there. I mean, don't they have what's the kid's name? Bakayoko or something like that? They have Noah Lang.
I mean,
Perisic is there.
That's from like Dutch media. He is their star player. They build it around him. He's their star. He starts every game. Bakayoko is off and on. I think Bakayoko's had it. I mean, all their wingers are very rotated around. They're not.
What's the name of their captain again?
Luke De Jong?
No, never mind. Maybe not the captain. They have a midfielder who I like a lot.
Joey Veerman.
Yeah, Veerman's a really good player. I would push back on that a little bit, but mostly I'm pushing back on Trace's thing. Really far. Let's say all of them are firing. Do you start Pulisic, Gio, and Malik? I don't think they fit into the same 11.
No.
I don't think they fit into the same 11. So if he's doing really well, I mean, obviously I want him to do better, right? It does help the team, obviously. But that just means, other combinations that have proven to work are being taken away. So I mean, really far as a stretch.
Is it that bad of a starting lineup if you have Pulisic out wide left and then Reyna and Malik on the center and right? Just kind of, I mean, the right is somewhat roaming into the center anyways, and you'd have just the 10, and it's really just
that's never going to happen. You can't have
as soon as defensively it won't work, and then the spaces that they occupy, I think it just get too congested. If you come into like a really competent pivot, it could get really difficult for them. I don't like that idea, really.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing. I think the only difference is what we've already somewhat talked about is that Gio Reyna in that Musa role and rotating in, or Tillman in that role, and we've already kind of talked about that. I think if you have that base that we've had of a Tessman / Tyler Adams and a Weston McKennie in the center, or even you move Musa to where McKennie is and have that base, I think we've shown that you can have that attack throughout. But once again, this is all speculative. Once he figures it out. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's the most of the teams we're playing is those.
No, it's not. We're playing friendlies until the World Cup, brother. The World Cup.
Those are the teams we're going to be playing in them. We're not playing these teams because they're going to be in Nation Leagues or World Cup qualifying. We're going to be playing teams of that nature where we're going to have a lot of control.
I don't care about those games. I'm not talking about if this is the best suited for our March window. I'm talking about 2026, baby. That's the one that matters. I don't think you can have those three starting.
I'm a proponent of trying anything, especially with a new coach and a bunch of players to choose from. But that does not seem to be the long-term option for me. And
you hear that, ladies and gents? Mike's open to pegging, so
I am
open to anything.
Good God, we need to end this podcast as soon as possible.